Recording.
Recording? All right, we can start the meeting at 6:02. Meeting for December 8th, 2025. And we're going to start with item number 1, roll call. Mel Futterman, Chair.
Susan Faust.
Jonathan Shambrew.
Jeff Gunderson.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the consent calendar, which will be the minutes of last month. Item, the correction that anybody has to do.
In the packet, everything's one-sided, so the minutes should be in order after the second page of the agenda.
I move to approve.
Seconded.
Okay, all the
Aye.
tentative vote, minutes approved. Public comment? Do we have any?
And maybe talk into the,
Come on up.
Yeah.
come on up. And
Yeah.
Sure. State who you are and.
My name is Chris Leinhardt, and I'm a member of the Rose Lane community. I've been working on the brigade.
Also, maybe we should keep your comment. Are you going to talk about the brigade or the?
Yeah, I was going to give you an update about the last
I
meeting.
think this is one of our, it's one of our
Yeah. agenda.
agenda item. So we might keep you near us, but we will go.
And when we get to business items, we can adjust the business item order if you.
Right, we could move you to the first of the business item, just where you'll be the first to go. All right, sorry, thanks you.
Should I stay here?
Yeah.
Please do. All right, so no other member of the public online or behind the door?
No other public member.
Any board members reports or comments?
For me.
I just want to thank you, Damon, for organizing this visit and tour of the new facility last week. It was really good to see it in person, if I can say so, and instead of just two-dimensional rendition on paper. So thank you for making that happen.
Ditto.
And we'll try to get another one when the furniture comes in, and so everyone can maybe take a look too.
Had you been in before?
Few times, yeah,
Yeah.
but it changes each week, so.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
Just to see the volume.
right,
Mm.
right, just to see. So it was really good.
I've admired it from the outside.
Well, if there's no other reports or comments, we're going to move on to item 5, director's oral report.
Well, my oral report's kind of short today. I guess the big thing we're wanted just to let you know is we had the marionettes last Thursday, children's program, had about 70 kids, very popular. So that was a fun program. And again, can kind of see the benefit of a new facility. And then we're kind of planning out, we don't know our exact move date, but we're probably only going to have one large scale children's program going forward in February. And then we're going to probably move. So day to day, we're kind of quiet. We're going to focus in on trying to work on, and the second thing is we're going to have a moving consultant help with us move. We met with her last week. She's going to develop a proposal. And then in January, probably start working with her on the details of the move, which is primarily the collections, the big thing, and how each section will fit in.
Great.
So I think that's all.
Is the library closing, what are the dates of?
Oh,
your
the library
holiday?
closure. Yeah, we're gonna be closed for Christmas, or the winter holiday, and we will be closed along with City Hall from Wednesday, December 24th through Monday, January 5th, opening our regular Tuesday, January 6th. So December 24th through January 2nd, all of City Hall will be closed,
Mhm.
as well as us.
So how is that gonna be for, but for returning material, the books are gonna, the book drop is gonna be closed?
The book drop will be open. We're gonna have one staff member kind of come in and clear it so people can still return, but we won't be processing holds for
Right,
pickup.
right.
But if you do let us know by December 23rd, we can put items in the locker.
Okay.
And Corte Madera and most of the other libraries will be open December 24th and December 26th, December 31st and January 2nd.
Okay. And there are signs in the library to say that it's closed and that the locker is available.
Not yet. We're gonna put those up next week.
Damon is a librarian. I've moved, I think, 3 different libraries over the years, and I have no information to help you, I don't think.
Okay.
If something,
Well-
if something comes up, I'll let you know, but
Okay.
otherwise, it's just kind of exciting. So I hope you guys are feeling that way about it.
Little bit, it's a reduction of collections, so
Mhm.
it's about half, we have to move half of what we have over there. So we just have to start to
That's-
make decisions versus like if you're moving the same space, it'd be a little easier.
Have you started? I mean, you started that,
We've
obviously.
Yeah.
done quite extensive weeding, and then the friends are gonna do a book sale.
Great.
And so they've been collecting those books. At some point they'll do, probably at the new library, they'll do a sale. So we're kind of moving ahead, and I think once we get the consultant, we're really gonna focus in on January, February. That's kind of what we're gonna do.
Okay, do we need to have a motion to move the update on transition to 6.1, or can we just?
Yeah, you need to get a motion in
All
a
right.
second. and approval.
Would do we have a motion to move 6.3 to in 6.1 position?
Yes, a motion to move 6.3 to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Moved. But now we're moving to 6.1, which is now continued updates on transition ceremony. Did you, Kristen?
Okay. Well, the last meeting we discussed, first of all, we discussed a bit of the expenses. We were trying to narrow down some of the expenses, so we sort of got a rough draft on that. We figured out the timing. We figured about for 1,000 books, it would take about 50 minutes. So that's pretty much what we're planning on. And that will have Friends of the Library will provide yellow vests and the Larky costume to be involved. And then I don't know how much you want me to go in detail about this, but portion of the meeting was taken up with dividing the tasks that we need to do. We sort of decided to wait till January. It would be pretty pointless to start anything before that. So we divided it in different sections, delegating different people that had expertise on each section. Do you want me to go into detail about those different sections, or not necessary?
Is there any that are problematic and you need our input in?
Not necessarily. Well, there are a few things. First of all, we wanted to, Sean Sullivan suggested an app called the Sign Up Genius.
Mhm.
So everybody could sign, we'd have a QR code and everybody could sign that up and sign the waiver and everything. And I think he said that it would be a place we could deposit any photographs that we wanted to go through and,
Afterwards,
yeah.
I see, of the event.
And there was another, we found out about a new app in Marin called the Marin Buzz. And they're pretty active, and they just, or it's obvious, only take care of Marin. A couple times a week, they send out notices with activities that are going on. So that would be an easy way to promote this.
So that's for the promotion of the event
Yes.
and the recruiting of the volunteers.
Yeah, we could use it for that too, but we want to have several different areas like Mount Tamracket or the different businesses or the sports groups to help get volunteers that way.
Okay, that would be for the sponsors.
That would be different than sponsors.
Different.
We would have sponsors separately, trying to either add finances or food or any kind of thing. They might come up with t-shirts for the first 50 people or something like that. But after the new year, we'll notify the TV stations, the local newspapers, all of that.
When you say 50 minutes and 1,000 books, why 1,000 books and how many participants would that take?
We figured about 750 according to the route that we're
750
still debating on. That's the other thing that's in
750 participants?
people, yes,
Mm.
volunteers. What was the other question?
Just what made the 1,000 books? Where did you start? Did you start with 1,000 books moving? Did you start with 50 minutes? Did we start with?
We started with 1,000 books, I guess. Is that what you guys decided?
I think it was a little 50 book, but it was a little more. I think we thought the event would be 90 minutes.
Mhm.
And that people probably, wouldn't want to move that long, and 50 minutes. So you have a little setup time to get the people in line, a little bit of an end. And so that was kind of how we got the 50 minutes and then multiplied out the number of books. Does kind of depend on the route and how many people, but that's if you keep doing
Right,
at that rate.
okay.
So it might adjust a little bit, but I think after an hour, people,
Yeah.
the fun might not be as, the enthusiasm might wane.
Yes, and that was the other thing. We're still working on the route, the exact route, trying to figure out the safest and most reasonable route to take.
And that would be on a weekend, right?
It's going to be Saturday morning, probably 9 o'clock Saturday. So we need to talk to the police chief again and the
Right.
fire department and city manager.
And a little that is based on the assumption our opening will be on a Saturday,
Right.
which we're kind of thinking we don't have those dates down, but those two are the kind of correlated events.
And the participant would be every age, or do you have an age limit or?
We do, well, we said no dogs. We had
imagine.
any young children to be with parents.
Mhm,
I think they
but-
said under 10 would be accompanied by an adult.
mhm.
That was very arbitrary.
Right. Okay.
The things that we're still working on the logo design,
Mhm.
trying to refine that. So we're working with the graphic artists on that. And what else?
When you have a good list of sponsors, and you have a good list of sponsors?
Well, we thought we'd start with the local restaurants,
Mhm.
and go from there, and the merchants, of course, and the typical dots or left bank or ones that have contributed before. So, but again, we're going to wait for that till kind of.
And we're
ask
going to
them.
develop, I get the idea of talking points for whoever makes.
And that was the
contact
last
with-
point. Yeah, that's
So that
the
there's some conformity and uniformity.
next meeting's going to be January 6th, I believe, Tuesday, January 6th. And by then we were hoping to have more specific talking points for the news people and the social media.
Good.
Guess that's about it.
All right.
Great,
Sounds
thank you.
great.
Exciting.
You and Diana have worked
Yeah.
so hard.
That's so good.
And so organized.
Diane is really organized. She's so good at that. Yeah.
Anybody else have other questions or comments or? And we still don't have, the date is still up in the air depending on.
Yeah, March maybe into April. That's gonna kind of see how all this comes together with some of the final.
And when the holidays are.
Yeah.
Easter's
Easter
really-
Day.
The other thing that we talked about was the idea of a ribbon cutting. And if there's going to be something like that or not, if it's
Hmm.
combined with this or not.
Oh, that's the other thing. Diana talked to Ann Morrissey.
Morrison.
And she said the Commons Foundation wants to do a little bit of a party before, I guess, so that we're not so responsible for the whole event at the end. So we'll do a ribbon cutting. And we might have some music or food trucks and things like that.
So would the ribbon cutting be on the same day as the book?
Yes,
Brigade,
when we
okay.
finish the book brigade,
that would
and
be a
hopefully
full-
the Commons Foundation will have all their, this, what kind of activities they want, or the people taking photographs or whatever, before the ribbon cutting, and then we'll have the ribbon cutting, and then Larky will lead everybody into the new library.
Okay, all right.
I mean, the books from the book brigade, where are they going to go? If it's not going to be open until they're all there, or?
We'll do that in the overall planning of the move, so the rest of the library will be moved in by
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
And then we'll save the book brigade books here, figuring out what makes sense and what shelving unit they go in, so they kind of can just all go and land.
Do they need to be processed in any way, like scanned?
The ones we'll be moving won't.
Because they'll have been done already.
There'll probably be, I would guess, existing ones on the shelves. And so when we close, we'll make the whole collection unavailable probably for 2 weeks, or whatever duration. So people can't put holds on them and that sort of thing. So we'll have to figure out all those details about how to handle our library closure.
In the
And
transition period, and some.
And put it online early.
yeah, because when we did like closures at the county and other libraries, if you kind of are closed over a week, you kind of need to redo people's holds. You can't really, it's harder you can like ignore picking up a paging request for a hold to send to another library, maybe for a day or two, but you can't really for a week. So we'll probably have to make certain things unavailable, communicate to the patrons. Do you want the hold delayed, sent to another library? And kind of those details, mostly the holds because we work with the other libraries. And then figuring out if we take returns during that time. And then we also have to figure out for the shelving, we probably have, we have thousands of books out. So we also have to account for that when they're returned.
Right.
Because normally we get a certain amount of return and it just kind of flows. So we'll have to work on all those. And the book delivery, we usually get, 8 to 10 bins a day. And so we might get those in that process. There's a few different things we have to kind of, and we have a worksheet we work through with the closure.
Thanks.
I think I have a question about the ribbon cutting. If it's on the same day, would the ribbon cutting take place once the book brigade is done? So should the books then be put on trucks outside the front and brought in once the ribbon is cut, or what do you envision?
We'll probably have to think about that a little bit and then also talk to Anne. And then also if we had enough carts to put them on, that'll be some of the details we have to kind of measure out. Because if they're not going in, they have to go on carts and then someone will have to shelve it later.
Yeah.
If you do all one collection, though, it might make it easier, like the graphic novels or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I kind of maybe thinking, what's the best one to
Yeah.
send over and then how everything will be mapped out. And that's why the movie consultant will
Yeah.
be able to help us. Because we'll have a map of where everything goes from here to there. All mystery gets a spending linear feet. These are the books we're taking over. Fiction gets a spending linear feet. And we still have to figure out, because there's a certain design of the library where each collection will go, because there's like a hallway, there's a quiet room, and then it'll make sense to end certain collections in certain physical points, kind of like stores have aisles. They don't, you
Wrap
go over
around,
one
yes.
round. So well, it'll be that'll be a big exercise.
Forgot to mention also about music. Damon came up with a great idea of having a little band or something right
Mhm.
here on the porch.
Mhm.
And then we want to get the kind of
The pipers.
Oh.
Yeah,
for the end, yeah.
Fun.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. I don't know if it came up, but just an idea for the book brigade, the very first book and the very last book. I would suggest that they're chosen deliberately and can be different from whatever the collection is, like something symbolic, Brave New World, or something, like something fun as like, this is, like the opening book and the last book to come
Or the
in.
Larkspur history.
The Larkspur history book was the one
There
that
you go.
popped in.
Perfect.
And there's two copies. There's the first edition and then the revised edition. So you can make them past
Okay.
and they're called Larkspur past and present.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea though,
Fast
because
is
those
the last
two,
and
because we
present is
can.
the first.
And they're
Cool.
easily replaceable if something happened to them.
Yeah.
Because I think
Cool.
there's still quite a few of them in storage somewhere.
But though that'd be good to write that up as our, and how this all summarizes, that'll be the
Chris, I
history
think we have
there.
the right
Yeah.
person here. That's an idea for the next meeting.
Okay, put that down for the next week. Well, also, I was thinking, well, if it rains that day, we've covered ourselves to make sure we have plastic bags with all the books in. It'll take a little more time, but I
Yeah.
want to make sure,
One book, one bag per book.
recyclable bags, of
Okay.
course.
Okay.
You know, whatever works. Okay, any other question, comments? Well, thank you, Christine.
Thanks.
Sure.
You are welcome to stay for the rest, or you can.
Thank you.
Might be warm.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so we're gonna keep moving, going back to approval of the programming policy that we had discussed last time. And it is in the packet.
And this, you might remember, we had a discussion and a few thoughts, and so this was trying to capture all the notes and kind of more of a written expression. So I was hoping we could approve this tonight, but if we need to discuss it a little bit more and bring it back. There's not a huge, if we wait a month.
Well, I have a couple
Okay.
correction. Bullet point 2, it should say connect, because we have our program provide opportunities to explore, connect instead of connecting. It's just grammar.
Who's that?
The second bullet point. Connect instead of.
It's on a different page.
Oh.
What? I don't know if that's the one.
Oh,
This is one I had from last week.
oh. From last month.
Last
I
month.
see. Yes, it's
Keep
been,
going. Oh,
no, it's before the draft. Here it is.
Oh,
And then you see this, it says opportunities to, and it should be just
okay.
verb in the infinitive.
Yeah, I was gonna
form.
say, the
Wait.
old one, yeah.
So it's connect. On the second bullet point, it should say
No.
connect, not connecting. And the same thing for the last bullet point, says introduce and not introducing, just so that we are grammatically consistent.
Yeah.
And the rest, it just, I checked it with my notes and it checks all the bullet points. So I'm okay with it as,
Those two
yes.
grammar
on the-
updates.
Yes,
So that was connect in the second bullet and introduce
right.
in the final bullet.
Yeah, looks good.
We had, trying to hit everything, but not be too detailed, so that we have room
Yeah.
to grow.
And then we had the big values discussion. I removed that.
I think it looks excellent.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think if this gets approved tonight, our next step is to develop somewhat of a form. So people who
Perfect.
email us, they can
Mhm.
we'll communicate with them and then use this policy with,
So that it all just
which
go.
would be a lot. And we probably won't really use it too much till the new library. We won't have
Of
too many
course.
programs,
Yeah.
but we'll be all set up because I think we're gonna have a lot of programs.
Yeah,
Motion to approve the Larkspur Library Programming Policy draft on 12/8.
you want to second it?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion
Great.
approved.
Thank you.
The
And
program
I'll make those
will-
changes with the grammar and sorry about that.
Thank
No,
you,
that's
Damon.
okay.
That's good.
Let it all do it. That was, thank you, that was swift. Item 6.3, the ebook discussion.
Okay, so this is the last, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. And my apologies, I give this packet. And then what happened, I'm not sure, you'll see a graph in
Mhm.
here. It's the same graph 3 times.
Oh,
So, not really sure what happened, but when we get in there, there should only be one graph, but I'll go over this little staff report. And I wanted to kind of go over it because at our last meeting, we started to talk about ebooks when I mentioned our budget issue. So we decided to make this an agenda item and give a little overview of what ebooks Larkspur offers and their use in our budget. So I wanted to highlight, we have the big things ebooks do is you don't have to come here, obviously. And they're available 24/7, so the physical building you don't need us. We provide 2 sorts of ebooks. And when I'm using ebooks in this sense, they're e-material. So the ebooks, there's e-audio, there's e-magazines. So there's a lot. So our 2 digital platforms are Libby, which is primarily an app on your phone or tablet. And we get that as part of the MarineNet consortium. And we pay into that along with the other city and libraries in the county. And almost every public library in the United States uses Libby. And they provide ebooks. Oops, there's a typo. E-audio and magazines. Patrons can check out this is what we also adjusted during the pandemic. In April of 2020, we raised the limit to 25 items and 25 holds. We were having too much use, so we dialed it back to the pre-pandemic level of 15 items and 15 holds November 1st. And generally, that's been okay, I think. The hold queues are a little shorter actually now, the administrative report. So that's Libby. The second one we provide is a really minor one, I think, for us, and it's Hoopla. The thing Hoopla does is provide instant streaming. So there's no holds. You get it right away. The negative of Hoopla is we have only 8 uses. We allow 8 uses per patron per month. But the biggest limit is our budget is 450 a month. And so each time someone uses something, it's $2 to $5. So
What
as soon
determines
as
the difference? What determines the difference in the price?
the content itself, so Hoopla prices things so more popular things tend to be at a higher rate
Oh,
is probably the shortest answer. Less popular cost less. So once we hit our $450 cap, the service isn't available
For the rest of the month.
for the rest of the month.
So that's like roughly 90 to 200 things.
Yeah.
A little less.
90 at 5,
Yeah.
225 if it was 2.
Yeah.
So
And then
there's a range. So do you typically run out every month?
There's a couple things. We typically run out, but this is something we don't promote very well. We kind of keep it hidden compared to other libraries. So it's I think small select power users, because I think if we did promote it heavily, it'd be somewhat a problem. But we usually spend the whole money the whole month And there are a couple people I know who hit their 8 maximum, and they're primarily who I've talked to, patrons they're doing children's books.
Hmm.
So that goes really
Mhm.
quickly on your
Mhm.
8, even if you have multiple cards,
Right.
because you can use your card, you can use your
Yeah.
kid's card. Um,
Yeah, 'cause that makes 8 at checkout
Yep.
at 450. It makes about 30 patrons who can use 8 roughly, depending on how many books. That's a
Yeah.
pretty small um
But if if
distribution.
you don't hit the full budget until close to the end of the month, it just means it's not well known. It's serving people that know it, use it, and like it,
Mhm.
and it's just under the radar for everybody else.
yeah, and we kind of do that. And it also, if for some reason we don't spend the 450, it rolls over.
Oh, that's great.
Good.
So we're not committed to 450, or we never lose it per se. But if $400 spent in the next month,
It's
the 500 would be the limit.
So how often, that's a good point, that Jonathan just made. When we hit 450, would that be end of the month, mid of the month?
It's generally towards the end of the month.
Okay.
It kind of works out okay. Um, Again, because I don't think we promote it that much.
Yeah, well, we can't. If we
Yeah.
did, then only a few people would be able to get it, so it would.
At the desk, we often will promote it, and it's also not in the catalog. The Libby books are in the catalog.
Mhm.
So all the hoopla, you have to actually go to the app
Mhm.
to discover it. With the Libby books, if you look up a title, it's in with the physical books. And we talked about this at Marin, and that was part of the way to stop the discovery of
Of hoopla.
hoopla, because all the libraries are even the libraries with larger budgets. This could, bankrupt you if it goes.
Yeah,
I mean, you can limit it and do it, but you can,
Sort of hoopla.
that's part of our materials budget.
Oh, no,
So
I
the
Mm-hmm.
mean,
city-
but
who makes it, hoopla?
yeah, it's a platform from what company or?
Essentially Midwest Tapes,
Hmm.
which provides library books, originally books on tape, and then they've made various contracts with people publishers.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
use
have,
Well,
it.
you've used it before.
I
Yeah.
use it.
they don't
Yeah.
have the depth of catalog that Libby does. And then they also probably have a few things that are like maybe a PBS thing you could
Mhm.
stream for free anyway, or
Mhm.
there's things,
Mhm.
but for the best, I think we show it to people on the desk when we know that there's a popular title and there's a
Oh.
hold list. Staff usually will say, "Did you know Hoopla has this, and you can stream this book
Mm.
now?" A lot of it's audiobook use
Mhm.
because their e-reader isn't as good as Libby's, but for the audiobook, it's good.
So what, I mean, the 450, is that a magic number from Hoopla or is that
It-
your budgetary number?
It's whatever, I'd have to do the math real quick, whatever 450 times 12 is. Um, that's our yearly budget.
Oh, I see.
Mhm.
So it
That's
was,
just-
it
it's a
was
budget.
directed by.
Yeah, so it's our
Five.
$5,000.
550.
400.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our yearly budget from the city is 5,500, I think,
So you
actually.
could increase at some point if there was.
If
If there was more
if
money,
there were more
yeah.
money in the budget, yeah.
And like I said, it does roll over a little bit. You also see it's a little busier probably in November, December, January, February as it gets cold, as we
Yeah.
pour in more versus May is a lower
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
So we do Hoopla. Libby's our big one. And so I kind of went over the challenges of Hoopla. The challenges here with Libby are, I don't think people will always realize, but if you have an ebook you purchase yourself on Amazon, we're probably paying at the library 4 to 5 times what an individual would
Yeah.
pay. And so, a typical audiobook's maybe $7,500. And that's just because they have it. There's also these licensing restrictions, and some we buy and they'll only do 26 checkouts and then it's gone. Others, they do metered by time length. Maybe you can have the book for 2 years. There are some, and then you can kind of guess the more popular the title, the newer it is, the more restrictive it is.
Mhm.
The less popular it is, the older it is, the less. So we do have a few titles that are in there forever, but those aren't really the popular. Those don't usually have holds on them. And then also what increased circulation and that number, which I'll show you, they added magazines, which has been great. Like a few
Right.
libraries have kind of gotten rid of their collection. They have, New Yorker you can check out. But a lot of people started checking out periodicals. So that's like 4 a month. And then so that really bumped up our usage, which is a good thing. We want people using it, but then cost. So those are kind of the big challenges. The high cost, and there is talk at the California legislative library level. The legislature might at some point try to get involved with the pricing of ebooks and try to make it more equitable or, not publisher driven.
Mhm.
But we'll see what happens at the state level. So I wanted to also show you here. Here's if you flip the second page, my apologies on my there. You can see Libby, which also at the time was Overdrive, you might have heard. Overdrive
I remember
Libby.
Overdrive.
Yeah, Overdrive owns Libby, but sometimes the names they kind of switch names. When Larkspur got it its first year, 563 items were checked out. And then if you flip this page to go to page 3, you can see last year we had 64,418 checkouts.
Mhm.
And you can see the bar graph, which is the same
Right.
forever. That kind of represents the yearly growth. And then the numbers represent each year's checkout for people who live in Larkspur only.
These are the digital numbers only.
These are the Libby digital numbers. So what that's in 24-25, 64,000 books, audiobooks, magazines were checked out
Is that
from
a calendar year? Is that January through December?
July 1 through June 30.
Okay.
So,
And does that include Hoopla as well, or is this Libby only?
This is Libby only.
Okay.
And this is our percentage, and this is what's owned by MarinNet. And then within MarinNet, we're about 5% of MarinNet's use. So if you extrapolate that out, you can kind of see, and again, ignore this graph, it's the same.
Wow,
That's
MarinNet wide, we anticipate 1.2 million items
Yeah.
to be checked out. And Larkspur, we anticipate 70,000 items being checked out.
from these, out of these 1.2 million, 70,000 will be checked out in Larkspur.
Yeah, 70,000 probably would be Larkspur's number
Yeah.
if the trend kind of continues.
percent.
what is growth slowing? That's a smaller increase than every year at best.
Um,
How did
That's
you
a-
get, how did you
that's-
get with 70?
when we did this in October, it was basically a court. So we had an ebook task force at the MarinNet level who tried to determine equitable, and it was kind of projecting the circulation through, I might be wrong on this, through October 31st. Was kind of how that projected for this year. So we could pull these numbers, and see at the end of December where we are halfway through the year. Probably, according to this, would be about 35,000. I think you see
I
that
think
big,
it's gonna be closer to 76.
you do think, oh, interesting.
Just looking at the numbers of a percentage
Oh.
and the trend line.
That might be an interest, that's,
It's plus 11.
we were in
Yeah.
denial for how popular it is. I don't know if we factored in the less checkouts or how that will, but that's a good thing.
Well,
And
and
I'll bring
all-
that back to the group for
That,
that.
and that's just purely numeric on the
Yeah.
pattern.
Right.
But when you also think in the new facility, there are fewer hard copy books, which might drive up the ebook usage.
Yeah.
Yes, but what is not gonna be there would be copies of books that are seldom checked out.
Still
It
is,
what also might happen, I think, is as the new library becomes more exciting for people, we might get
Right.
new library card holders
Yeah.
who go there for
More
the first
awareness.
Yeah.
and they go, oh, you have this service,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
even they might come just one time
Yep.
to see the new physical. And I think, yeah, let me look at that, but that's a good
That's
observation
curious.
that 76 might even be, because it is kind of almost 10.
It's plus
It was
13, plus
20%.
11.
I mean,
13,000
53 to
every
64,
year.
it's 11 on 55. That's more than almost 20%.
Yeah,
Twenty
that's
percent of the 64 would be more than 12.
a good observation.
You know,
And that's
13
all
last couple of years.
post-pandemic
Yeah,
numbers too, where
Exactly.
2021, that's real normal.
I think new library excitement might be,
Mhm.
could be a considerable factor.
Mhm.
That's a good point, yeah. Um, so that gets to the
Uh,
the spending of the whole thing.
To the meat and potatoes.
So what we pay 100,000 essentially into MarinNet yearly, and a portion of that is directed towards, because we have to buy the Libby license, which is expensive. And then once you have the license, you can purchase books. So at the MarinNet level, MarinNet's purchasing books out of that budget. And you see that's the 506,000.
Mhm.
So MarinNet, and that's part of our dues, which is about 5%. So you can figure that's about what we're putting into that 506,000. They looked at the use and all the holds and came up with this. We should probably be spending about 337,000 more, well, 338,000. And then if you go to the next page, to get there, I didn't put the whole formula here, but what they did is we created a formula for each library based on usage.
Mhm.
And then we also factored in the budget. So we factored in our budget that we are only $68 per citizen, where like the county's 125 per citizen. So we came up with this spending target formula, and for Larkspur to achieve the 337, we should, based on our use as a patron, we should be spending 15,643 into this each year outside of the Marin net monies. And then Tiburon should be doing 22,000, the county should be spending 176. And that's how we would get there. If you look at our historical spending last 3 years, we, I'm still hopefully we get a grant. The state was supplementing this. So we've always spent 1,500 a year, and any monies above that were what the state was able to give this
Great.
as they gave it to every library jurisdiction, and it's just kind of what it is. So, so far we've actually spent 500 as of October 31st, and then we did pull off another 570 last week because we're trying to show good faith to the other libraries that even though we don't have the budget that they do, we're trying to show that we can kind of
Yeah.
purchase,
Right.
and then, so that's really
That-
kind of the.
That would get us 2/3 of the way towards the 1,500.
Target.
Just more,
Yeah.
but two things. One, we've averaged 7,500 and now our number is exactly twice
Yeah.
that. Do you think you can cover the rest with grants as you have in the past?
No, it's still to be determined, that because the grants ultimately came from federal monies.
Mhm.
And this year's been a little unpredictable. Some of the IMLS funds were re-released.
Yeah. This happened today.
And it's not
They
clear
were.
what that means yet to filter through. So kind of optimistic, but I've never been this uncertain with how this
Okay.
will work.
Yeah.
The other options, are this for foundation and friends, they can support us, but one of the challenges with that, like with the books, you got to put a nameplate on. This kind of
Yeah.
gets thrown in. It isn't as hard to
Yeah.
recognizable, is kind of the challenge for donors.
True, but on the other hand, this is what is mostly being consumed by the patron.
Mhm.
So it might be not something tangible that we can put a plate on, but for a patron who borrows 15 items, digital items per month, it's very real. Then, if you tell them,
No argument there,
Yeah.
but for a donor, there's
Yeah.
less recognition.
right, but our donors, if you talk the foundations and the friends, they are they understand what the library, how the library functions. They understand.
Great.
The one question I have is that 15,643 is a target.
Mhm.
So this is what we wish we would be spending, but not that we can. This is where we are.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, when you have jurisdictions who have different governances and trying to play nice, together.
Mhm.
It's a target we agreed upon, but it isn't a mandatory thing. But the more you don't
Correct.
work
It's a
with
good
it,
faith. It's a
Yeah.
good faith. This is where we want to be. But
It-
we're gonna do our best to reach it. But there will be, the only penalty will just be that the other gonna say, come on, you're not pulling your
Well,
weight.
Look,
It's
that's
more
a question.
reputation than.
What happens if we don't hit it?
this year, I don't think there would be there. Well, a little bit of public shaming, at our meetings, like they're gonna, like at the next meeting, they're gonna start publishing it each, how much is spent
This
every
is
month.
meeting of whom?
All the library directors.
Is that a Marin net?
And MarinNet, yeah. So the Tiburon director, the MCFL, et cetera, which isn't that big. So it's a slow, this year, I don't think we would do anything. And I think so for the next year's budget, that would be if we had advocacy for that. And then we also might look at, we don't have much room to cut. We're pretty, we have a lot of zeros, we even zeroed out the DVD
Mhm.
collection. Which
It's okay.
that kind of has a little thing here, but is
So no hard ramifications this year if we don't meet it. What happens if other libraries don't meet theirs? At some point, if we're too far away from the 337,
it,
is the
San Rafael's the other one who's a target. I could almost guarantee the other libraries will meet it or exceed it.
Oh, that's great.
Which is a little, again, it's a challenge of having in these consortiums, well-funded, light and low-funded.
Yeah.
San Rafael and us are the lower one. San Rafael is a much higher number if you look. And San Rafael to date had spent zero, and I know they were also grant. So we'd probably kind of keep talking about it and kind of go in year by year. I would probably also start to make, even though our adult book collection right now is 20,000, maybe that becomes 19,000 and that, really small. Also, we have Canopy, which is a streaming service. Maybe we end that and switch to ebooks. There's a few things like that I don't think this year would be it, but it's as we plan for next year. The other thing is Sausalito with this, but it's also more noticeable, had a director who was a very big ebook enthusiast, and they left a year ago. And so they were spending about 40,000 a year. So they were spending way beyond what they should have been. And the director, he just they believed in it. And the new director just has a different. So I think that director's more looking at the 12,000,
Yeah.
which made us, the other people's
Right, you're right.
kind of realize things. So
David, who is MCFL?
That's
the county system,
yeah.
Marin County.
Yeah.
What's
Court-
F?
Court of Madera.
Marin County Free Library.
Free Library. Okay, thank you.
I think the proportions look pretty fair. I would be reluctant to just immediately have a knee-jerk reaction like, oh, we should find outside funding for it, and really it should come from the city of Larkspur, the city of Larkspur budget. I mean, they should be the ones who are truly going to be shamed by these other constituencies and other cities if
The other
They-
thing is, I mean, the library now looks
That's,
small and old. Um, we're gonna have a new
That's true.
persona. And I'm wondering if expectations might change because we look so much more up to date. and-
Expectations
Like our number
from,
might go up.
Hmm?
I mean,
Expectations for what our contributions
Oh,
are.
from
will
the-
go up to match the appearance. of
Marin,
Yeah.
from
I
Marin,
wonder-
yeah.
yeah, and I think you make a good point. I mean, it's a little aside from ebooks, but I've had numerous people ask about programs like Mill Valley and Tiburon, and we're getting this great building, but we're still not going to be open 7 days a week. We're not going to be
Right.
open 11 hours a day. But the building does make it a little more, well, you do have money for that, but
It-
that was
Yes,
donations,
it
grants. It
was.
wasn't heavily city funded, but I'm kind of hoping in the next budget process with the city, they might recognize this
the draw, yeah.
as something and maybe even just at least above the 1,500. Um,
Yeah.
or we could even reduce maybe the hoopla a little bit more.
Yeah.
To 200 a month, but at some point, if you reduce it, maybe
Right.
just drop, I
They
mean,
drop
maybe,
it, they just.
maybe we
it's-
drop
it's so
hoopla and then
small.
put that out.
For Hoopla, do you have a number of the total number of patrons who have ever used Hoopla?
I would say, we do,
Is
but
it
I
the
don't have,
same? Because if it's the same people each month, it's a very small constituency, which is disproportionate use of funds.
so, maybe dropping hoopla might be the,
That's a
Yeah.
couple $1,000,
yeah.
5,400.
Per year, yeah.
And at least I think if we make those incremental changes,
Yeah.
that at least we're showing
Good
we're
faith.
trying, to meet this. Because Larkspur patrons do use this and want this, and maybe we just put all our resources into the one county
Yeah.
where the other libraries have like Hoopla and Canopy. We all kept our own because we couldn't agree on limits. And like with Hoopla at Beltib, they have 12 per use and etc. So that might be something we do look at, and we just reduce. We try to do one thing good instead of
Yeah.
I
two.
do think that it's a good, given how limited our funds are, to just see what the majority of our users prize but at the same time that we are cutting it, just say why. And
Well-
also say what else we're doing, so that those who are benefiting from the cut
That's right.
just know that whenever the friends or one of the foundations ask, well, it's the library foundation that asked for funds to run the library, they can say that we are
Yeah.
short on our county, and it's not glamorous. It's not like a beautiful lamp but this is what the library does.
Yeah.
And they
Provide
have-
material.
And
Why not,
the foundation does pay for Canopy right now.
Good.
So they might be able to
Yeah.
switch if we drop Canopy,
Is there,
they might be willing to books.
for Hoopla, it's interesting because it's it's a chunk of money, very small budget,
Mhm.
limited per
Usage.
use,
Mhm.
and then each month, if you hit the cap, you're done. I would love to know, does it change each month or is it just a core group of people, one? But two, in the same way that Libby has a limit, could you limit Hoopla to 2 items per patron? And then keep some degree there might be things that are available in Hoopla that are not available elsewhere. And,
Yeah, I think
right.
it's just,
Right.
if it's a pedal, it's something that we just do on the side. Let's just not do it. It's just.
I mean, how dedicated though are the people who
It-
use it and how?
And primarily, it's probably, when you think about who it is, it's gonna be probably seniors who listen to audiobooks.
Mhm.
But that's not the
Well,
only way they can listen to audiobooks.
Yeah, Libby has
But-
a lot of audiobooks.
But you
You have.
you have to get on a hold list. It's a little harder to use and some people want to, and we may not be set up this way, but Hoopla's big benefit is I want this book now and
Right.
you're rolling. There's nothing in Libby. You might have to wait a year in Libby for your item.
No.
9 months,
The
I mean,
people
depending.
who use Hoopla are people in my book groups, and I am member of several of them, who just are not very organized and then wait for the last minute and then get the book the week before because, so, you know, it's, yes, there are some people, because it's immediate, because they can get it right away. And there's no planning, there's no searching, there's no waiting. So yeah,
Is a Larkspur library card recognized somewhere else like San Francisco?
San Francisco.
It's the Larkspur card is recognized at all the Marin libraries, but in nowhere outside of Marin. But a Larkspur resident can get a library card in almost any California city or jurisdiction. And then each library determines how that card will be used for online resources. So some are very generous. It's like every citizen. Others it's this service. Others no outside. Kind of like our Hoopla setup, you have to live in our tax district. And if you don't live in our tax district, you can't use our Hoopla. Same with Canopy. The Libby card, though, is good for all the MarinNet. And then the Libby we use, the MarinNet board also agreed to make it as a NorthNet, which is a lot of the northern libraries. Those people can use some of the resources within Libby. But it's pretty complicated when you talk about when someone just wants a book and you start going in all these permutations of it.
Yeah.
It's a little, but that's how we're set up, and that's how the card works.
It would be interesting to see a little more of who uses Hoopla, how, as you said, how many, are we talking 30 people, patron who use it regularly? Are we talking about 15 who use it? There's 450,
one block.
there's 450 a month that we spend. How many different patrons? What is the pool? And then to say, as you said, it's not equitable because we are not meeting our quota on one, and we could be $2,000 closer to there.
Yeah.
And if we get a pool of money, we could maybe just ask somebody to fund Hoopla for a year. Just
I think you could do that. I think also if there would be any advocate for more money too, maybe in the council letter.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Yeah.
would be
that's right.
something we could just ask. But I think getting rid of Hoopla and getting rid of Canopy, the one thing that ends up happening is it becomes like a large discussion point at the desk for explaining to people, because we're the only jurisdiction in the county, or probably the Bay Area, who won't have Hoopla or Canopy. And so it confuses people, but I mean, that also explains your budget and your problem, and maybe advocate for more. Because it is a small group, it,
What we could do also is just get numbers, but we do have a number for Hoopla. It's 450 per 12 by 12. And we could ask the foundations or the foundation in their letters to ask a sponsor to just say, will you sponsor? It's a small known number. Would you, your $2,000 check, would you make it for Hoopla? And then the person just becomes a Hoopla genie.
Yeah, could see that.
Angel.
And we could try that maybe for
because
Canopy too.
and Canopy, same thing. Those are smaller, rounder
Lineup.
packages
Yeah,
that just they can.
with a name on
That's
it.
right.
Bite size.
Yes,
Somebody could just, I
You
got
just-
this, I got Hoopla. for
that's
you."
right.
I mean, I hate to see us, even though it's a small group, these are dedicated library users.
Yeah.
And I I don't like
Well,
the idea of shutting them out, but
Nor do I, and I also am curious, is there a wait list for Hoopla? Or
There never would be because it's all instant.
but can you tell if the budget's met or exhausted, so nobody else can use Hoopla? Can you see how many people are still trying?
No. Well, let me look. Let me look at the dashboard. I don't think so,
To be a
'cause-
little bit more informed with just quantity, does it change? Is it just a group? But there are ways to get that net.
Well, even if it's just not just a group, it is one of those items that when you make a budget and you know that you have to slash, it is something that's easy to remove and easy to put back. And it's just a lot easier to remove this and to do one thing we do well, ebooks better, and to, meet our quota, then and then we can always add it back instead of just trying to just do a little bit here, a little bit there. It's hard to keep track.
The other area I'll throw out that we have the foundation pays, whether it's a significant amount, or we get 3 newspapers still, the New York Times, the IJ, and the Chronicle. And those 3 for yearly subscriptions are over $5,000. So that might be
How are those consumed?
people read them in the library daily.
Physically,
Yeah,
do they get read?
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That seems very valuable.
but it's that small group of people who come in daily. It's
Yeah.
not like and we do have those papers online for people. Though they'd be harder to read in person, but the amount, when you look at some of the amounts, or
I would be more hesitant to remove that, especially with the new facility where people will come and will want to read something and to use the outdoors, and to have the newspaper for people to come and use it is almost
Yeah. I would
I
too.
don't know if people realize how much an IJ subscription is.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Back to
that's why they come here to read it.
back
Yeah.
to Susan's point, and to sort of expectations and sort of instead of micromanaging, I mean, it should be a matter for the city council to just fund these things. I mean, if that's what people are doing in this city and the way that they use their library, whether it's in the newspaper subscriptions of people that really should be there in print in the library, and the fact that they have digital access to stuff, and whether it's Hoopla and a really dedicated set of users. I mean, if that's the cost of it, then that should be the cost. And these proportions seem very fair to me. That's on there with dividing, us with, comparable to Sausalito or San Anselmo or something in there. So, I mean, if those cities can fund it, that Larkspur City Council and budget should be embarrassed if they can't do it in our community too. So,
I think it's a bad look to have this new beautiful building.
Agree.
And
then
then, oh, well, we don't have this
Panhandle.
anymore. Now, that's not to say that there aren't economic realities that we have to deal with, but I do think it's a really bad look.
yeah.
And it doesn't speak well.
And donated money, whether it's from the foundation or the Friends or anybody else, should be things in addition to what the city is going to fund for a nice new library that they're all eager to support and embrace, and yet didn't have to pony up a whole lot of money to begin with for that structure. So they
There
should be.
probably going to be other additional costs with the new building as well.
Yeah.
That the city's going to have to
Already
underwrite
are.
too.
Yeah,
Utilities, garbage, the fire alarm, conference.
you need, they want to
Those
be able
types
to
of
know.
things.
Yeah.
That's
Things will go wrong, need replacing, cleaning, something.
But think how much money they've saved by having a library squirreled into a 110-year-old building for all of those years they did.
There you go.
So I would start with that maybe, and then, figure out how to.
And we do have a little time with this, so kind of bring it,
Yeah.
we don't have to decide this tonight. But I just kind of wanted to raise awareness, I think, for you to
I
kind of
think
see.
it's really interesting.
And just where we are in the whole, and the usage, that we're more than just the people who come in there
Yeah.
downstairs.
Mhm.
I'll add one more thought, piggybacking on what Susan said about the look of like beautiful, brand new facility, and then, you know,
No more newspaper.
not wanting to like take away something that feels kind of basic,
Me.
like
Yeah.
a newspaper for sure.
Yeah,
And even Hoopla, I like this program,
I do too.
but I also think trying to make it equitable is a good goal. And I don't see any limit per patron, so it could be used entirely by a very small group. To me, the best case would be
Just
we
8.
keep it, but with informed data, we could see like, oh, more people would use it if we just limited, you get an X amount per month per patron. So we still have it. Great, you're a power user, max it out, but we're gonna leave room for a wider group to use it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. San Anselmo dropped to 5 this year because they had a little budget. Just issue, not, I don't want to say issue, but just,
Yeah.
I mean, what does it mean to
either-
drop 5?
Oh, like we had 8 uses on Hoopla.
Yeah,
They, with, they went to 5 uses
Yeah.
per month. And we could make 4 or whatever
Yeah.
the number might be.
but I do think that if we really if we're really looking to meet this number, we need to cut something and make a significant. Because or else it's just trying and not achieving anything.
How can we say that in the absence of like the whole?
Correct. I'm not saying we
So-
need to cut hoopla. We need to look at it. And then we need to look at something that will make a significant contribution, because a little bit here, a little bit there, it just puts everybody in a pinch.
Well, I don't know if does that problem exist that you're thinking of trying to solve?
This is what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, I know, but we don't know that we can't meet that right now.
Correct.
So
Correct.
let's
We
cross
all
that
talk-
bridge
that's correct.
when we come. to
Right.
it.
Correct. We're not talking about
Yeah.
cutting anything
Yeah.
now, but if we need to cut, it should be something that is.
Why don't we discuss it if and when we
Yeah.
need to?
And the one big variable is if these IMLS funds in some form come in, that would somewhat save the day again,
Yeah.
like it did the previous year.
Exactly.
What is MILS?
It's federal government funding of a lot of state
Institute
library.
of
You said it
Museum and
in-
Library Studies. Or
Yeah,
that's the S.
yeah, museum library,
Museum library.
Services.
museums and libraries
Service.
services. And I'm afraid that's just the budget that was promised through this past September, but those monies had stopped as of last March probably. And so that's a chunk of change that would have to be then put back into those state library, or it winds up in state libraries and museums. But it's a substantial amount of
So
money.
it goes to the state and then the state
And
distributes
is
it.
that the money that? would-
Yeah, then the state, then there's regional libraries. So there's there's NorthNet libraries. And so those are kind of a consortium, basically libraries in the Bay Area, Napa, Sonoma County, Mendocino, Humboldt, Del Norte, kind of that whole swath is like a subsection. There's like a Southern California one. The state gives that group the money, and then that group gives the individual libraries money. And we get actually a big chunk because our per person is low. So we get so the wealthier libraries don't get it as much. So what they're trying to do from the state level is give it to the consortium, the larger consortiums who can divide it up and try to give it to the libraries who have fewer monetary resources.
Yeah,
But it is from the federal government to the state, who then
Yes.
distributes it.
To NorthNet.
Yeah.
Some of the IMLS money the state keeps, and we would get the grant, like our zip book program is through the state. There's no NorthNet.
Yes, okay.
that's good. That's good news. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's overly complicated. Steve,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
sure.
like,
Yeah,
especially for these amount of money, but that would be the one hope. And then also
And how much would that be? What could we hope for?
if in an ideal world, it would probably be $9,000. That's what it was probably that 23-24 year.
mhm.
But it's averaging 7,583. So the year before they halved it by 50%. So it's like whatever, 4,000. I'm a
So you
little,
say that this number came from the federal government, the 7,000?
this is what we've,
Average?
this is what we've contributed on an average basis
Hmm.
to the whole thing. 1,500 of that has been out of our budget. So
I see what
six
you mean. Yeah, 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 I
thousand
get it,
out
I
of the
get it,
last,
I get it. Right, right, right,
out
right.
of the last 3 years, with 1 year being,
It's this minus that and the
Yeah.
rest came. Okay.
and it used to be a guaranteed 9-10,000 year after year. MCFL we used to pay for the delivery system with it.
Hmm.
So they want you to spend it on ebooks, basically. And they still did support us. They did give us, this NorthNet organization, $1,200 for staff training. So we do have a few staff training things we've done. So
Good.
they still are active. So that's why I'm still hopeful this money might come through, because
That's
we'll
really
see.
interesting, Damon. Thanks for putting all that together.
And so I'll keep you updated and we'll see
Yeah.
how this goes. And then, I think it's good to look at the data, as you're saying, especially with Hoopla, Canopy. We also might want to look at how much I know we bought the newspaper, but maybe look at how much that's being used more
Yeah,
systematically, too, because that's kind of the other big chunk of money. Or maybe, are all three papers being used?
Right, just at least a local paper
You know.
thing, but a local library without a local paper seems a little bit
well,
out of,
listen,
I mean, I imagine
touch.
people come in just to read the paper.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Yeah.
it would
They
alienate,
want
bet.
them not to come.
it would alienate a certain hardcore group.
Yeah.
library.
That would be, and it just seems like a library should have a newspaper. We could probably drop the Sunday one, since we're not open
Yeah,
Sunday.
you're up.
So
Yeah.
there are, but again, we're all nickel and diming some of this
Yeah.
stuff, and
We
We
don't
can
need to
bring
do
in our
that.
Sunday ones for
We
you.
just don't need to go there.
I mean, how much pressure is there on us right now to
For-
make a greater
That's what
contribution?
Jonathan was saying.
I think we can write out this fiscal year.
Yeah,
Just in the meeting, as as long as we're making good, honest, really good faith efforts to this and getting to that, because the other libraries do understand when you look at our budget. There's not much room because
Mhm.
where we could, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just how people we understand, and libraries generally want to uplift everybody. So usually the wealthiest try to uplift us. So there is pressure, but we've been hearing about it for years too. It'll be more pressure at a meeting. I don't think they won't go, we won't be forced to withdraw from RedNet. Like,
Right.
there is a mechanism you can do
Yeah.
that with it.
But also, the library's gonna need a bit of a grace period as we get used to some of the new expenses of
Yeah.
having this new building. That's gonna. be
I'm sure the city
substantial.
council will be enthusiastic to support such a thing in its budget process.
Do you think?
Sure.
Well, I mean, they do-
It's the signature
gonna-
public building for
But
the
you're gonna hear
public.
about police and fire,
Well,
so.
they built their new building.
No, but at the
And we're
cost.
still
of-
paying
Well,
for
that's
it.
true.
The cost of
Fire,
the-
yeah.
But,
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
And we'll go through the budget season probably in February, again, so there'll be
Yeah.
this is when it'll be a little more interesting too, because
I mean, some of the groups that raise money, that our needs are gonna change, but some of their fundraising
Sure.
incentives might change too,
Mhm.
so.
the new building is a big, will be a draw in many ways. And maybe that's one of the things that the groups need to know of what those specific needs are. Because when people come and then turn around and say, how can we help? They can have specific items. You know, you can pay for the New York Times, you can pay for the IJ
I
contribution.
mean, I don't
Yeah.
like the idea of funding things through a bake sale kind of thing. I think the
But-
city has obligation, but on the other hand, the city has some finite pool. And
For
I
sure.
think our job is to figure out how to give the best service. And,
It's
you
not
know,
a
what pools can we draw on? I don't know.
It's not a question of,
Yeah.
I don't really see it as going and begging people. I am saying more as a way of giving the two organizations who are raising money to run the libraries material to put in their annual letters, other than just give us money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the hoopla genie.
If you say to someone, give me money, it's one
No.
thing. If you tell them, give me so much so that we can continue receiving the IJ every day, then someone has an understanding.
right.
Yeah.
But I
of
think
what
that's
it is.
how,
But this is just as we talk about this, we give those material to our supporting groups, and they do what they want and what they can with it.
yeah, but to the best of our ability, we need to figure out how to give the best service and how to maintain the things that are.
I
That's
agree.
true.
It's like to prioritize, what do we go find? What do we ask for?
Correct.
What do we want? Yeah.
How do we
Um,
do this?
Okay, well, thank you. That was the ebook discussion. You don't need any decision from it. It's just a presentation.
Presentation and then like coming back at when the budget's more.
Thank you,
what we
Damon.
expect.
That was illuminating.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
good.
Yeah,
Continued updates from support groups. Do you have any? Anybody from foundation or the
I,
town?
no real updates other than kind of the friend sent out their
Mhm.
appeal and I gave the foundation a mailing list from recent card holders to mail, but I don't know what they were going to appeal for or so I don't really have an update, but I wish that hopefully they think of your suggestion because I think because they're the ones funding the three newspapers, so hopefully they put that in their appeal letter because I think that
Mhm.
actually is
That's a good one.
that's a good one. So, but I don't really have an update. I feel like I should. So
No,
I'm kind of
that's fine.
talking, but
Any other comments about
No.
this? Okay, item number 7, future agenda items. Aside from the programming policy, we're going to continue on with that. Do we have another policy that we need to work on next month? That's urgent or prior should be.
I've kind of been waiting on the patron behavior policy till we open. Um, so I
after
don't,
school,
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, you know what I think might be a good one to talk about next month is a tutoring policy.
Great.
And what that would look like, I think the big issue with the tutoring policy is if the new library space should have tutors as their workspace.
Okay, yeah.
You know, is that a financial, like, come here, I tutor you,
Mhm.
and so.
Had a tutoring policy in the past?
No, I know that's come up, the comments that it's talked about, and I know Dan has mentioned that's one. At the county, we had one, and a couple other libraries have one.
Could we pull those references, the comparable policies of other libraries as reference and circulate that?
Yeah, I'll do
Can
that
send that?
before that one,
Perfect.
Yeah.
for that, because we even have quite a few tutors downstairs.
Great.
So I think that'll be a good,
Okay.
Okay,
so how does it work now?
it's a little bit. There's not really a policy, and I think it's kind of like we aren't aware of what people are doing, and we don't want to get into their business. But then you hear someone will say, I'll Venmo you.
yeah.
Oh, God.
You know, and so you probably know what happened, and it might be okay. Usually libraries aren't places of business.
Right.
Mhm.
But here they don't reserve the space. There we have those cubicles
Mhm.
that could be reserved, and that's where it becomes
Okay.
more, here
May-
people are just meeting casually behind, literally behind the staff.
Maybe we need a policy is there a policy already for the reservation of spaces?
That's gonna be kind of driven by the city to
Mhm.
start.
Oh, that's
And,
right.
and then probably after the city works theirs out, we'll do
What remains?
the four rooms. And if we're gonna do software, and is it an hour a day? Do we have a system? All those kind of
Mhm.
questions.
Right.
There was one thing I thought when after the tour is that given that those doors open and that there is access to the outside, I was wondering if you needed a policy to limit, like a newspaper, material moving in and out of the building to be read on the outdoor furniture. And that's one of the things that I thought of
Okay.
as we were touring.
Yeah, let me think about that one. That one's,
It could be wrapped into another one.
yeah, and it's interesting too, because like in the children's, there's a fenced area.
Mhm.
So what becomes outdoors? That's interesting. Yeah.
But the children actually, you can't really leave. The other
The
one,
ones you can. Yeah.
the other one, the one that is facing Mount Tam, if the door is open and there's that outdoor furniture, the temptation to take a pile of book, browse them standing up in front of the stack or browse them, or the newspaper or the magazine, to just, why not just step outside? It's only a few feet away. So think about it, of just, is it,
Yeah. Yeah, let me think about that. That could also, I think, maybe be in the patron use
would be,
policy
that's right.
where,
It,
any materials outside the library, need to be checked out.
well, it doesn't
Or-
have to be a separate policy. It was just a point out.
That's a good, yeah, or you can't read the news, but then you don't wanna be too policing, like, don't
Yeah.
take the newspaper out. I don't know, yeah.
That's the thing. It's so,
But we need a policy. Everyone needs to have shared understanding, otherwise it's gonna be a
I think
problem.
that's a good one for you to think about.
Yeah.
New
um,
problems.
so
Yeah.
next month we'll do the tutoring policy, take a look at it.
Yeah, and I think it would be good I think Jonathan's idea of sharing some existing policies and then talking about it, because I think the policy itself will be short, but the concepts need
Yes,
discussion, and then I'll write it after.
that would be good. Like we did for this one,
Mhm.
to bring a lot of them. I think that we need to start looking at next month, looking at the letter to the council that
Yeah. Yeah,
we give them generally in January or February, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have to do elections again for chair and vice chair, just because we do that in
I
December. we do
think
that in
that's the
January.
fiscal year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think in July,
Okay, all right. So
but
don't
we
need
had
to
a
do that.
couple people leave in December and January, which caused the elections before, I think.
Okay, all right. Well, can we just make sure that we don't miss the boat this time? Because I know that
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah, and I'll
Maybe, but-
I'll ask the city clerk, Allison, make sure we're on that with elections and
But yeah,
everything.
we have
Yeah.
to correct. So the main thing would be tutoring policy and letter.
Could I ask what goes into that letter? I'm new on the,
I can send you previous
Okay.
versions that
Perfect.
were sent,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that'll be the clearest problem.
Okay.
But you can also
a
answer.
little homework.
It's the summary of the year's activities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The concept is just, what we've been working on, what we have done, and what we hope to achieve in the year to come. To report to the city council.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
and I think it's usually on a calendar year and before they do their budget.
We do it
Yeah.
in, yeah. So that's what we can hint.
Yes.
Any other topic that you think we could? No? Next meeting date? It should
It's
be
January 12th.
Jan- You read 12, everybody
works
is
for
good
me.
for that?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a second, yeah. It's one people.
do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Meeting adjourned at.
thank you all.
Wow.
Thank you.
7:26.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Well, thanks. Happy holiday. Stay warm.
Yeah, have fun. God, stay